everyone, let's give a round of applause for Tracy Wolff!
Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, it's so good of you guys to come to see me. I'm so excited. How's everybody doing? Awesome. I'm really excited to be here. San Diego's my hometown, so it's super exciting to be back here at Mysterious Galaxy, and where I have perused the shelves on many an occasion and talking to you amazing people. So thank you. Hi. Oh, thank you so much. I came to work for you. Does that count?
Sorry, y'all. I'm just adjusting my mic here.
Yeah, I should probably do that too. Is that okay? All right, we're good?
Can everybody hear us? Super awesome. Well, Tracy, are you ready?
I am absolutely ready.
Yay! Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this lovely event. We're celebrating Charm today by Tracy Wolff. All right. If y'all don't know me, my name's Kai. I do social media here at Mysterious Galaxy, and this event is very special to me because this is my most favorite YA series ever of all time. And I just
that
love
makes me so happy.
You make me happy. Oh. But yeah, I'm so excited to introduce Tracy Wolff today. Tracy is the #1 New York Times, #1 international, and USA Today best-selling author of 71 novels. What? Crazy! That run the gamut from young adult action adventures to new adult romance, and from women's fiction to erotica. Spicy. So, a longtime devotee of vampires, dragons, and all things that go bump in the night, Tracy loves nothing more than combining her affection for paranormal creatures with her love of writing tortured heroes and kick-butt heroines. Super, super awesome. And we get that a lot from Grace and Hudson, don't we? Yes,
well, I hope so.
So we just wanted to say thank you, Tracy, for being here and for offering to sign this for us. That's really awesome of you. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for reading my books. That makes me very happy. I love it. Thank you.
And just a few reminders before we get started with all these questions here. We are offering signed and personalized copies of Charm. And this is a kind reminder that your purchase of books through Mysterious Galaxy helps us as an indie bookstore to keep doing wonderful events such as this. So just kind reminder, support your indie bookstores. Okay, are we ready for these questions?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay. Tracy, I have a few fun ones for you before we get into the nitty-gritty.
We're getting into the serious? Okay.
Okay.
Will you make me cry? All right.
Yeah. I hope you won't cry. I know I cried. Okay, so this is a simple would you rather.
Okay.
Okay, so would you rather dance with Hudson under the dragon horde or have Hudson sing to you in front of a crowd?
I think Dance with Hudson under the Dragon Horde. That's actually one of my favorite scenes. I loved, like, the Dragon Horde. There's a funny story about the Dragon Horde, which I guess I can get to if you want to hear it now.
Yes.
So I had written a Dragon Horde into court. Not court, into Crush. I'd written a Dragon Horde into Crush, and I was super excited about it. And it was like kind of on the way to the Dragon Boneyard, and all this stuff was going on. And my editor, and she was right, by the way. I will preface that she was right. That it slowed the pacing down, and it just didn't really belong there. And so she cut it. But I was really sad because I really wanted a Dragon Horde in the series. And so we kind of, bickered about it. Me giving her a hard time because she cut it, even though, I would never tell her she was right, but she was. And all of that. And so when it came time to write Covet, I'm like, I'm going to put a Dragon Horde in there. She's like, we don't need the Dragon Horde. Why are you going to put a Dragon Horde in there? I'm like, I'm going to do it. And so then when I wrote the scene in Covet, I was like, I'm going to write it so it's like really hard for her to cut it. Like she's got to leave it in. It's like super important. And that's how the Dragon Horde in Covet came to be that way. Like it just seemed like that was such a, like, I don't know, for me, I was just really excited about the way it was kind of like floating around. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. So definitely that.
I have a fun fact for you.
Okay.
So my friend Joanna, who's in the crowd today, she drew a connection with the song by Justin Bieber. It was, oh man, Joanna, what was it? Sorry for putting you on the spot, by the way. There was a Justin Bieber song, "Dance with Me Under the Diamonds."
Oh, okay.
But it very well connected with that scene, and
nice.
that's all I see when
you do it.
when I heard it. Yeah,
Justin Bieber. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Are you ready for the second?
Absolutely.
Okay. Would you rather have Macy's glamour or Jackson's speed?
You're mean. Jackson Speed.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, you can always there are days where you're not going to look good, but you can always, if you have enough time.
Yeah, exactly.
And enough makeup.
Jackson's speed. I love it. Okay. Would you rather have your partner bird squawk at you to annoy you, or have your partner draw on your Versace underwear to annoy you?
Neither, none of the above. Maybe draw on the bird squawking. I really had fun with the bird. You have no idea how many bird calls I listened to to write that scene. I'm like, okay, I literally searched what are the most annoying bird calls on the planet, and I listened to so many before I decided on the ones that I used.
Yay! I would do the bird squawk as well. Okay. Would you rather have your giant city promise ring or the Shadow Realm promise ring?
Both.
That explains. Okay. Well,
a lot. No spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers. Sorry, my bad. Okay. And lastly, would you rather have the ability to fly or have the ability to turn to stone?
Oh, fly. I think fly.
Okay.
Right?
For sure. I love that.
I mean, I guess turning to stone is cool, in times of danger and whatever. But yeah, who doesn't want to fly? I mean, that's even, I think, why Jackson had telekinesis. I'm like, I just want to be able to fly. I also want to be able to make a cup of tea without moving when I'm, writing a scene. But yeah, flying.
Yes.
Although he floats like a blimp, he doesn't actually fly. Or so I've been told.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Well, those are my would you rather questions.
Okay.
Now to get into the nitty gritty. Okay. So, first question, how dare you?
I mean, to be fair, I feel like you could be talking about a lot of different things. So maybe a little more specifics.
Just the whole entire thing. How dare you?
The whole series or Charm?
You both. I've had so many feelings. It's okay. Okay, for real now. So what makes writing for the character of Hudson different from writing for Jackson? Because Hudson's the focus of this one.
You mean what I'm writing from his point of view?
Yeah.
Well, I think they're just very different people, Yeah. I think they're very different heroes for Grace, right?
Yeah.
Jackson is very protective, wants to wrap her in cotton, put her on a pedestal. And while Jackson, they have the same parents, they don't have the same experience. Jackson was raised a lot of the time by the bloodletter. And while she's not exactly what one would call warm and fuzzy, I feel like she's warmer and fuzzier than Delilah and Cyrus, certainly. Yeah. Which, is not hard. And I just feel like Jackson's had the chance to have a life in a way that Hudson never did. So when I write Hudson, especially in Charm, I don't, this is the thing, I don't want to give spoilers away. I don't know where people are in the series. But I want to say, in Crush, the Hudson that we meet, because we know Charm happens between, Crave and Crush. The Hudson that we meet in Crush is the Hudson who's already fallen in love with Grace, right? He's the Hudson who's already learned that there's someone in the world that he can trust. The Hudson that we meet in Charm is not that person. He is cynical and he's been abused his entire life, and he doesn't trust anybody. And here's this annoying girl who is, drawing, on his underwear or whatever. And what is he supposed to do with her? And I do feel like it's a different Hudson, and it's the same guy, but we get to see who he was before Grace, and then the rest of the series is, more torture for Hudson because I am apparently an evil person. But we get to kind of see how these moments in charm have shaped who he becomes throughout the rest of the series.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to answer that question.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So, reading this book made me feel like we unlocked a whole other level of Hudson. So please tell us your experience with exploring more of his character, like his comedy and his...
Oh, I think Hudson's always, he's got really good timing when he, delivers a line. One of my favorite scenes in Crush, actually, is when he's, after he's, Jackson and Grace have just been canoodling in Jackson's room, and Hudson is sitting on the Ladara's field reading very passive-aggressively No Exit by Sartre, right? No Exit, of course, is a story about a hell of your own making. And I just, he's always got great timing. But in Charm, it was really nice to kind of, again, be able to explore who he was before Grace, and also just really get a chance to explore who he is when he feels secure too, because there's in any romance, right, there's two parts of the story, right? There's the before they fall in love, there's falling in love, there's the all of we know how romance is structured here. So what he feels and how he is when before everything that goes down with the mating bond and Jackson and everything that happens in the rest of the series, how he feels when he's just happy, No.
Me and you both. Okay, so I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we love Smokey.
Oh.
Please tell me everything from the initial idea of her to the completion,
Well, again, I don't want, I'm trying really hard not to, maybe I'm doing a bad job, but I'm trying really hard not to do too many spoilers. I'm trying to, talk very broadly. Smokey was, when I plot a book, or when my editor and I plot a book, we get together, we throw ideas back and forth. We always knew where the series was supposed to go. We had, all these big milestones that we knew we wanted to hit in the series. And then we kind of get together and we talk about, okay, these are the milestones of the book. This is, this is the action. This is the main thrust of what has to happen. And then after that, the more minutia of it, the individual scenes and the individual characters and stuff like that, that's, I leave that up to while I'm writing, because I think if I know everything about the story, then it's not a lot of fun. So I like to be surprised. And the characters usually start talking to me when they need to start talking to me. For example, the God of Time. I knew I needed the God of Time. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know if he was a guy or a girl even. And then suddenly Jacan walks in flippers and a bathing suit. And I'm like, well, that was not what I was expecting, but all right, let's see how this goes. So Smokey wasn't even a glimmer in my eye when I was plotting it out. And then she kind of becomes really integral to the story, right? And I wanted, when I get, as I was getting into the story, I felt bad for Hudson too. I am not heartless despite, and I wanted him to be loved unconditionally for the first time in his life by somebody, What does it feel like to have somebody who just loves you and just wants to be with you? Not that way. It's not creepy or gross. And I loved the fact that it became this fun little thing for me how much Smokey hated Grace, right? And how much Grace wanted Smokey to like her because Hudson cared about her so much. And she just was like, no, I have no time for you at all.
Yeah.
I don't like you, go away. Hudson's my person, And she's part pet, part child, part,
Yeah.
And I felt like he needed, and I think that too was part of his growth arc, right? This understanding of what it is to be loved.
Oh,
And to accept love.
Beautiful. I stand Smokey. Smokey's the best.
In my publishing house, they have a hashtag. It's Justice for Smokey.
Oh boy. I will join in on the hashtag.
That was you?
Thank you, Brittany.
That was you.
Okay, well, you have created some very interesting villains in this book. And I know why you're laughing, because
He's a lot.
he is very much a lot.
He's a lot.
Please tell me about his development.
Okay, so his name is Swiel, which I know is an odd name. It happens, for those of you who've read the books, I assume you know I'm a giant Harry Styles fan and a giant One Direction fan from way back. So if you unscramble the letters to Swiel, you come up with Louis. I'm just saying. And if you happen to look through the book and unscramble the letters to a couple of other names, you might maybe come up with a couple of the other boys, maybe. Just a
Now I have to go back.
just a hint.
Okay.
So anyway, he is, and not that I think Louis Tomlinson is a villain by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a big part of the book, and I thought, that was good. Yeah, we were talking backstage, right? The last time you interviewed me,
Right.
I feel really bad. The last time she interviewed me, I'm pretty sure it was the day my mother died. And I was in shock, and they had wanted me to cancel, and I didn't want to cancel. And I just remember, we were talking before the presentation started, and I was just like, my mom died this morning, and poor Kai, he was so excited. It was just like, what do you say to that, right? When somebody's just like, my mother died a few hours ago. And so anyway, I was writing Charm as I was dealing with the grief of losing my mother. And it was hard for a long time. I had a really hard time writing, just because I couldn't lose myself in the story and lose myself in the character, because every time I got quiet, every time I sat down and wasn't doing something, I was kind of overwhelmed by this, wave of grief. And finally, a few months into the process of trying to write, I just kind of gave myself permission to lose myself in the book. Just like it became, towards the end of books, I usually write 18, 20 hours a day. And for this, I was trying to write 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And I gave myself permission for those 3, 4 hours not to think about being sad, not to think about, everything, that was missing in my life, because I'd been my mom's caretaker for a lot of years. So it was also getting used to not having her call me, not having her need me, what do I do with those, with all of that, and just kind of lose myself. But I gave myself permission to just enjoy it and be as absurd as I wanted to, whether it was with Versace underwear and bird calls, or whether it was with Swiel and John Travolta and all of that, and I just let myself, my imagination run wild, and I just let myself have a really good time. And I think that as I wrote the book, it really helped heal me. And I think that it really also gave me more of a confidence in really just being myself when I write, because you're always like, well, how absurd can you be before your audience is like, what is she doing? She has jumped the shark and lost her mind. But so far the response to Charm has been really good, and I think it just it just makes me feel like it was it was just this really, like I said, it was just this healing. I'm gonna just go back to myself. It really helped me to write Charm and to write Swiel and the bizarreness that is him.
Thank you for sharing that. I know how hard it is to talk about someone you've lost, and so all we want to do is support you. So
my fans are amazing. I say that all the time. I have the most amazing fans in the world, and I mean it. And I now have proof, because every time we leave a bookstore, the booksellers are always like, "Your fans are so amazing." I'm like, I know. I'm so incredibly lucky and blessed.
I love you.
Well, I love you right back. I mean that sincerely.
Okay, awesome. Going deeper into the villain stuff, I know that you also had Shadow Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a purpose or process with why she was more of a background lurker than an upfront villain?
That is Cherish.
Got it. Got it.
Those are questions I will not answer.
Got it.
Because my
Okay.
editor will be very upset with me.
All right. For sure. Okay, so I'll pretend
But
I
you
didn't
will
ask
you
it.
will learn a lot more about the Shadow Queen and
Okay.
Cherish. I was writing about her yesterday, in fact.
Don't mind my excited squealing. I hope that didn't blow out this mic. Okay, well, moving on then and pretending we didn't ask that. For those of us who have read the books, we know that Charm takes place in Grace's head and in the Shadow Realm. Tell us about the world building of Charm and what makes Grace and Hudson's little space special.
Well, the idea for the Shadow Realm, like I said, we'd always had like a broad idea of what we wanted to do, but I don't think we'd really like settled on like the Shadow Realm until a scene I was writing in court that ended up getting cut. Well, it got moved and changed. I will say that, and the original scene was cut, and then we kind of revamped it and brought it back later in the trials. But when I was looking for where I wanted to set the witch court, you know, there are ley lines of power and whatever, and the triangle of black magic runs through London, hello Vampire Court, San Francisco, which when I found that out, I was like, oh my God, no wonder that old TV show Charmed took place in San Francisco. That's like access to black magic. And then the third one was Turin, Italy, where I put the witch's court. However, the triangle of white magic also runs through Turin. It's the only city that's on both triangles, so it seemed perfect for the witch court. But in Turin, there's a piazza that is supposed to be a gateway to hell. And there's this really cool statue in the middle of it that some people say is about knowledge and other people say is Lucifer. And anyway, it's really interesting. And they say that, like, you know, you don't want to be in that piazza at night. It's not a good place to be. Like, for real, this is what they say. And not because, like, someone's going to, like, mug you, but because, like, the portals to hell open up. And I was, like, fascinated with this idea, right? And so I had, like, played with it and used it in the scene that we then kind of picked up and transported into the trials. And I had these shadows come up, and if you've read Court, you know what I'm talking about. And as we were dealing with that and dealing with Mackay and dealing with all of the things that were happening in Court, we were just like, you know, what if, you know, in the Shadow Realm it's not hell, but like, wouldn't it be interesting if there was this other realm and there was, you know, and what it looked like and all of that. And so from that, we kind of moved into what we really wanted to do with Charm and what we wanted to do with Cherish. And then also, of course, wanting to tell the story of the missing months with Grace and Hudson that I mean, I'd always wanted to tell that story, and readers had been asking for it for quite some time. People always ask me, like, why now? Why didn't we do it, like, right after Crush? Or why didn't we do it? Because I feel like to get to where we are in Charm, we really had to go through and learn more about the world that we learned in Covet and Court, so that Charm really made sense where it plugs in. So that's kind of what we were doing in the Shadow Realm and what we were thinking about. Grace and Hudson, obviously, and what happened with them, and then also like this other bigger story that I think you'll see the Easter eggs that I laid after you get to Cherish. You'll see them, you'll go back and you'll go, oh, that's what that was about in Covet. Now that makes sense. They're there. I always have questions like, oh, but you said, I'm like, I did, but the series isn't over yet.
That's really awesome. I love how you said that we had to go through all of the other books first before getting a Charm. Like, I think I was one of those people who were just like, why didn't I get to read this before? But, you know, I can reread it in whatever order.
I've had a lot of people who've gone back to read Crush after finishing Charm, and I'm getting a lot of Hudson. Yeah, like, I know it's really sad when you get to Crush now.
Yeah, it's super sad, but it's okay. Everything will be fine. Okay, so what seems to be a theme here is time and the passage of time. So what made you want to have the sun rise and set so much slower than Earth?
Well, I feel like, well, when do shadows exist, right? You can't have shadow, like if you have like the sun down, you don't have shadows. And so you had to have it be a lot slower for that reason. And also because I really wanted, I wanted time for Hudson and Grace, you know, I wanted more than, you know, maybe 4 months for them to live this life that they're living, you know. I'm sorry, Kai. I'm sorry.
I'll never forgive you. No, you are 100% forgiven. It's okay. Okay, awesome. So hold on, let me see. I lost my place. Ooh, for those of us who know this series, we all know that this book takes place in the 4 months that Grace was in gargoyle form. And so what we know is, number 1, we're inside Grace's head, and number 2, within that time frame, she and Hudson became best friends and lovers. So you obviously wrote Crush before writing Charm. So I guess my question is, was everything you wrote in Charm already canon in your head when you started writing Crush? I know you kind of already answered this, but what parts, I guess, were canon?
I mean, canon was Grace and Hudson were going to be in love, and they were going to, you know, be together. No, like like I said, the small details. That was not canon. Like I said, I knew the big pieces. I knew what I needed to happen, what I wanted to happen between them. I didn't necessarily know how I was going to get there. Like I didn't know, like. I didn't, like, I'm trying to think of how to do this without spoilers. I didn't know what the fight scenes were going to look like. I didn't know, you know, that she was going to, like, turn to stone at really an opportune moment. Like, things like that, of course, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Did I know about Artelia? Yeah, I knew about Artelia.
Ooh,
you know.
okay.
So,
excellent.
things like that.
I love Artelia.
Oh, yay.
Okay. What was it like to rewrite Grace's firsts?
You know, I was really, I didn't struggle with that, but I was really careful because I was like, it's so interesting because she had these first moments, right? Mm-hmm. Or thought she had them, you know, in Covet and, you know, et cetera, and then to bring them back around here in a different way that was still respectful to what happened in Covet. You know, between the two of them and yet still make it here where it was meaningful and important. I felt like, you know, it was a little bit of a tightrope to walk. I don't know how well I did, but yeah, it was something I was very conscious of and something I tried to be very, very careful with.
That's very good. And you did it really well.
Oh,
I wanted to reaffirm you that it was beautiful watching her live out her real first. I can say. So it was awesome.
I can also think about, like, from Hudson's point of view, like everything that he lost.
Oh my God, you're right.
When you're like, when he's like dancing with her, and you know, and then you know things that you know happen after and cover, you know, everything that he's already experienced with her and everything that he's lost.
Oh, my heart is hurting. Okay, great. Before my heart breaks further. So, based on the last 4 books, we learned about the unfortunate fate of some well-loved characters. What is the process of making that decision on who gets what fate?
Who dies?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of whining involved in my own head.
Oh.
There were a couple characters I killed in court that I was not happy about. And then it kind of becomes, right, I mean, there's that old saying, you have to kill your darlings, and usually that references, like, you may write a really great line, but it doesn't work, so it has to go. But, like, I think it really works with, you know, stories like this, too, because if you're telling the story of this epic war, you're telling a story of how dangerous and something that's gone on for 1,000 years, and you're really, you know, trying to fight, like, this incredible evil, then sacrifices have to be made. I mean, I think that if you tell a story without that, then you're not being true to the story. And if you tell a story where you only kill people that don't matter to you or to the readers, then I think that you're also not being true, because that's not what real life looks like, right? And I think that when you take personal feelings aside and you focus really on what is best for the story and what is best for the themes and the messages and everything that you want to get across, then yeah, you have to do things that you really don't want to do.
Aww.
And kill off like one of your maybe all-time favorite characters.
Oh,
It's okay.
my heart breaks. But everything's fine. It's a very well thought out answer, though. So thank you for sharing that with us. And it is 7:30, so I just wanted to open the floor now to the audience. Nick, was it online first, or are we free to? Thank you. Okay. That's fine.
Awesome. I cried like a baby. And just so you know, I cried like a baby writing the end of Covet too. I mean, I suffer, right along with it. Like, I think of all the series I've written and all the books I've written, this series has really gotten inside me too, I think. And so, yeah, that scene, I was really devastated writing that scene. Even knowing what I knew was coming next for her, I was just, I was very painful. Yeah, I think that, I'm sorry. I know that, again, like, the books take place in a world where, fantastical creatures exist, but I do have real world themes in them. Like, it's really important to me. And I think one of the things that I really wanted to kind of discuss in this theory, or in this series, I had COVID a couple months ago, and the one lasting effect I've had is I get words wrong sometimes, so I apologize. I'm working on that. So one of the things I really wanted in this series is I wanted to kind of look at first love, right? Because so many of us, our first love is all-consuming and amazing and powerful and wonderful and devastating when it ends. But for most of us, not all of us, sometimes we end up, staying with our first loves our whole lives. But I think for most of us, that's not the experience that we have, And I kind of really wanted to explore that being okay, the idea of, and it was incredibly important to me that I do not vilify Jackson. He's not a bad guy. He's just maybe not the right guy for Grace anymore. He was. The Grace who came to Katmere, who was lost and confused and in danger and didn't know what was going on, he was an incredible first love to protect her and keep her safe and give her the security that she needed. But as she comes into her own power and as she grows, as a person and as a gargoyle and as a queen, as all of these things happen to her, she doesn't need a mate who protects her so much as she needs a mate who will stand beside her, who will let her be strong, who will say, I am right here, and if you need me, I have got you, but I know that you can do this, And I think that is a journey that so many of us need to take, as we move through our teen years and into our 20s and beyond. I think, we start out uncertain and we're not sure of our own power. I mean, we live in a society that's made sure that we're not sure of our own power. And as we come into it, we start to realize, hey, look, we don't have to be what anybody else tells us to be. We can be whatever we want to be. We can make the life that we want to make for ourselves and be with the people who make us feel good, and not just make us, feel good, but who bring out the best in us, you know, and let us be the best version of ourselves. And that's kind of the story that I was telling here. Jackson's not a bad guy. You know, he would have taken really good care of Grace. But the Grace that she's become is not a Grace who needs somebody to take care of her. She's a Grace who needs somebody to walk beside her. And that's the story that I told. You know, and sometimes you do. You got to break up for a while, but, you know, sometimes, you know, you got to grow. So.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad.
All right. So we'll take one from online, just going back and forth here. So which setting in a favorite book of yours do you wish was real? That's from Lisa.
Oh, I'm a huge fan of the Nalini Singh Psy Changeling series, and I would absolutely love if her wolf packs and cat packs were real. I think that would be amazing.
Really awesome. Okay, and back to in person. Also, after you guys ask it, I'm going to repeat it into this mic before you, just so that people online can hear as well. I thought your hand.
It's there. It'll be there. It'll be there. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
That is not something I'm leaving dangling. It's a rough one.
Yeah.
But
yeah. The question was, is the promise or is the promise from the crone coming up in the next books? And your answer was, it's coming.
It's coming. I did not forget it.
Amazing. Okay, back to online. Which character do you relate to most in the Crave series?
That's an interesting question. I always say that of all the characters I've written in the books that I've written, Grace is the character that's most like me. Her good points and her bad points, and she's got some bad ones. Very much me. So I'd say, you know, I relate to her, but I also, you know, there's pieces of me in like all of the Crave characters. Hudson's snarkiness, you know, that's my inner voice that, you know, especially towards myself, right? Like, you're always meanest to yourself, or so my therapist, you know, used to say. So I, you know, there's that. There's Macy, I am the nurturer, the cheerleader of my friend group. I'm always the one who, like, you can do it. This is amazing. I love you so much. That's my role in the friend group. So I relate a lot to Macy as well, which I'm very amused by because my editor and I are very close, but she despises Macy as a character, like hates her so much. And it's constantly trying to get me to kill her.
No.
Tell my editor, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. Okay, I will tell her. But yeah, no. So Grace and Macy probably are the two that I relate to the most.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, questions here? Saw you first. Yeah, you.
Oh, this is not the first time I've gotten that question.
The question was, did Liam actually betray Jackson in the order?
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
What?
I can't give, like, I mean, one thing, I'm trying hard not to give spoilers of books that are already out. I'm not going to give spoilers of books that aren't out yet. I have, like, we have Cherish, we have a spin-off series to do. We got stuff to do.
My head is spinning now. All right, back to online. Will Remy's series have cameos from Crave? That's from Chase.
Yes. Absolutely. You will not lose the characters from Crave forever now. They're Grace and Hudson. The group will be back.
Yay! Okay.
I mean, it will be focused in Calder Academy, which we call like the Island of Misfit Toys. It's a it's like a school for misfits, delinquents, people who don't have anywhere else to go. So it's a very, very different kind of dynamic than Catmere Academy. I'm actually really excited about it. So yeah, it's very different kind of school, very different kind of stuff going on. But yeah, we have Cherish will not be the end of Grace and Hudson.
Okay. Good to hear.
I love them too.
Yeah. Okay. Question in the back, Pink Mask.
You know, honestly, I was a little uncertain about that at the beginning. Like when I started Crave, that was one of the things I wasn't sure about. I was like, okay, Grace, I know that you have power. I know kind of the story that I want to tell for you, but why don't you just kind of tell me what you are as we go through this? And I was getting toward, and my editor had read several, pages, scenes, chapters, and we kind of discussed what I was thinking and what she was thinking. And then one day she's like, right? I know you've mentioned gargoyle, but as one of the things you're thinking, she's like, but you know that you wrote her as a gargoyle. And I was like, well, I don't know that I did. She's like, really, she turns to a statue. Her stomach sinks like stone. You put these gargoyles everywhere. Really, you don't think that maybe your subconscious knew all along what she was, And I was like, okay, you make a valid point, as you often do, editor of mine. And yeah, and then I really thought about it, and I was like, I think I was a little afraid that people wouldn't embrace it because it wasn't like, a more common paranormal creature. And then I was just like, at some point you just have to be true to who the character is and the story that you want to tell. And Grace is a gargoyle. Yay, I'm so excited. That makes me so happy.
Awesome. How did you choose the songs in Charm? And that's a question from Heather.
How do I... sometimes they're really easy. Sometimes they really, come to me very quickly. I'm like, well, of course it has to be this song. And then other times, I have to really look. And it wasn't Charm, really. One of the songs that I had like a really hard time picking was actually a song that's kind of become synonymous with the series. And that is Lewis Capaldi's Grace. And I was in that scene and I was like, I need the perfect, sometimes you just know you need the perfect thing. Good enough isn't going to cut it. You have to have the right song. And I probably went through like 200 songs trying to find it. And I'd actually never heard the song before I found it. And when I did, I was just like, oh my God, this is everything Hudson is feeling and everything I wanted that scene to be about. And if you don't listen to the song, hopefully you get it from the scene anyway. But if you add the song in, I think you're like, oh my gosh, it's like this whole other layer. And then it kind of really became the song of Covet, to the point that I listen to music sometimes when I write, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I listen to like a specific playlist. Sometimes I, just kind of like let it, whatever, shuffle, whatever. And sometimes I like really fixate. So as I'm writing like the whole second half of Covet, like Lewis Capaldi is pretty much on repeat. Like he just feels like that's, he's the voice of that book. And Grace particularly over and over again. Now we were still in the pandemic. And we were still, pretty much in quarantine. My kids were going to school at home and my, partner was working from home and all of that. And, each of my books decides where it wants to be written. I know that sounds like the most ridiculous thing ever, but I swear to God it's true. I start out trying to write every book in my office, and none of them actually get written in my office. They just flow better at different spots. Court, it was, Court was written all over, But Crush, it was at the end of my bed, like sitting on a little stool or sitting cross-legged on my bed. Covet was the dining room table. Charm was the kitchen table. I don't know why. Very uncomfortable chairs to sit in 12 to 16 hours a day, but that's where the story came. But anyway, the point is, I'm writing Covet. I'm listening to Lewis Capaldi a million times. I do not use earbuds because it's my house, damn it. And I can listen to what I want. And so I'm sitting in the dining room, like playing Lewis Capaldi over and over again. Directly above me is the game room where my sons play PlayStation and also like do their schoolwork. And like, you know, they know, do not bother mom when she's writing. Like if mom is writing a book, everybody just has to suffer. This is how life is. But to this day, if Lewis Capaldi comes on the radio, my children are like, ah! No! And I feel really bad because he's so great and I've ruined him for them. But like they're like, no way am I listening to that ever again. So it's pretty funny. But so yeah, I sometimes they come like, oh, of course, like the laundry room scene. Like, I mean, it had to be, it shut up and dance. It just had to be. Like, there was no other song for that. But sometimes you have to really kind of look. I have to look and find the right one.
Awesome. Okay, how are we doing on time, Nick? We good? Okay. So another one from the audience. Yeah, go ahead. Why purple is the question.
There's actually not a relationship between there. Academy colors are purple because that's my favorite color. And also, you know, very like paranormally, witchcraft, you know, all that. The Shadow Realm because, I mean, shadows are, you know, kind of purpley, right? It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just, that's just how I look at shadows and what I see them as. So it made sense.
I actually had that same question, and then I didn't ask it.
I'm like, why is everything purple in the Shadow Realm? Because, like, yeah, I don't know. I'm ridiculous. It is. And so is Cherish.
I thought that was the connection. That, like, you made everything purple so that it could foreshadow the cover of Cherish, but...
Well, the color, I think the fact that everything is purple is why the covers are purple.
Got it. Okay.
So backwards, but...
Okay, well... So, this one got 3 votes. Wow. Any updates on the movie?
Oh, that is always the question. No matter where I am, whether I'm in Europe or here, it's always the question. And the answer is yes and no. I've read the script. The script is, I think, amazing. I love it. We are, you know, Hollywood moves at the pace that Hollywood moves at, and there is nothing anybody can ever do about that. I am super excited about the team working on it in Universal. They're super committed to the feminist message of the book, and so the team at Universal is all female, and I love that. And they've attached a really great production team who's worked on Twilight and Hunger Games and Perks of Being a Wallflower and Divergent and a bunch of other really amazing movies as well. And they have put an all-female production team on that. And the scriptwriter is a woman, and for all intent, from what I understand, they're committed to attaching a female director. And I really love that they're really staying true to that vision. Like I said, I've read the script. I think it's really good. I know that they were making some revisions on it, and I'm hoping we'll have some good news to announce pretty soon. But that's all I've got. Fingers crossed. I had an editor once tell me way back in the day that, you know, you never count on anything happening in Hollywood until you're on the red carpet. So I will say I'm hoping we have some good news to announce soon, but like I have absolutely no idea, and we will just see what happens. But the project is looking great so far from what I understand.
Oh, that is so exciting. Great. All right, question. Yes, in the back. Oh.
Oh, hi, Jackson! Oh, my little baby Jackson, how are you? He's beautiful. Oh, well, it's so nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Love you, Jackson.
Hi, Jackson.
He's so cute. He's like, I have no idea who you are. That's him. Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming.
For those
And
online, one of the fans named their baby Jackson. Okay.
And I know that this lady's had a question. She gives her her hand.
Go ahead.
Okay. That was unnecessary. Leah, of course, did not know that.
Oh.
Sucks for Leah. Also sucks for Leah, right? That like, well, cherish. Okay.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh, that's it. That is a long. Yeah, that is a lot of cherish. There is, if you get the I know we're here with the regular version, but the it's the vampire version, not the shadow version of Charm, that has something that explains more about the god of time. I can't remember which. I think it's the vampire version. But to really get into time wizards and that, yeah, that's a huge part of the plot of Cherish. That's all I can say.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
Don't have a